Hello folks, it's a crazy Englishman here. Hope you're okay. It's a blustery day here at Southend. Don't know if you can quite see the sea is, but it's certainly not calm. The wind is blowing the waves. The sky looks a little bit threatening, but the break in the clouds and the blue sky gives hope that I may not get soaked in the rain. I hope you're all well and your families are well. Thought I'd do a short video, maybe a series of videos. We'll see how we go. I wanted to sort of move my reflections on what's happening today, what happens in our lives, the meaning of life. And I want to use, or shall we say, I want to bring up the story in Genesis of the beginning, but not in a preachy way, but in a, shall we say, life application way. Although that's not the Bible's sole intent, but what I want to get over, and maybe not doing it too well, is that it doesn't matter whether you're Christian, Jew, Muslim, believer, atheist. The very least we can say is that the scriptures have much wisdom that we can gain from today, which unfortunately, although our society was built up on biblical and Christian principles, has turned away. And I would put forward that that's probably the major reason why we have the problems we've got today. So come on, let's get back. I'm not going to preach to you, I'm just going to lift the words out and try and sort of tell it in a practical, maybe sort of storytelling way. Which really, if you read it yourself, it is a type of story, not fictional, but it's meant to convey a truth. So let's go. In Genesis chapter 1, we're told that when God created the earth, first of all, it was a formless void. It didn't have any shape. There was no order to it. There was chaos. That the Spirit of God hovered over the deep. And then God spoke. He spoke a word. And he said, let it be. And it was. And so it goes through the 6 days of creation, from light to water to simple plants and to simple creatures, and finally to us human beings. And it doesn't really matter. I don't want to get into the 6 days. It actually doesn't really matter whether you, or those that believe that it was 6 literal days, because God could certainly do it in 6 literal days. He could do it in the blink of an eye, or whether it's a period of time. But it's the Bible's language to use those set periods to spell out the individual areas of creation, as I've just spelled out to you. So he creates on the 6th day. After he's created the mammals and the animals, he creates man and woman, Adam and Eve. And the Bible says in the image of God he created them, which doesn't say to any other of the created things. So it tells us that humankind is very special. In its very being, it holds something of the image of God. And when it means image, in Margio if you want it in Latin or in Hebrew. It actually doesn't really matter. It doesn't mean that we look like God. It means that we have some of the characteristics of God which sets us apart from the rest of the animal kingdom. And God breathed into man the breath of life, and from the side of man he took woman. She was called woman because she was taken out of man. It's a beautiful story, a very beautiful story. And he said, go forth, look after the garden which I put you in. Go forth and multiply, have children, and bless the world with children. And that was the 6th day. There's one important thing which we will come up again later in another video, that God said they could have anything in the garden, anything they wanted. There was so much choice of trees and plants, and he'd given them both to animals and to the man and the woman to eat. So he wasn't killing and eating flesh then. There was no killing even amongst the animal kingdom. And God said, there's only one thing. There's one thing, there's one commandment I'm going to give you, one prohibition. You must not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Because on the day that you eat of it, that you're going to surely die. And then we go on to the 7th day, and God rests from all that he has done. Again, the language of the Bible, like human language, it's restricted. And we try to explain divine things. So when it says it rested, it doesn't mean he was tired. God doesn't tire, he's not physical like us. But he stopped. He stopped from the work of creation. It was complete. Creation was complete, and on the 7th day, then he rested. And he said, because this is the 7th day, hold it as sacred as a holy day. Because on the 7th day, I'd finished all creation. Again, that will have, as we go into scriptures further along, that will have more implications and more meaning. So just to summarise, the first chapter tells us that God created every single thing that has been created. He created everything in an orderly way. And the summit of that creation, the summit and crown of that creation, was man and woman. Now what's the applications? There's many applications. But I think one of the major applications for today, for the 21st century and speaking into our times, is that God created man in the image of God. It means we're sacred. That's you're sacred, I'm sacred. The man round the street, round the corner is sacred. The man that you don't like is sacred. The man of a different religion is sacred. The man who thinks different from you is sacred. The man of different politics from you is sacred. That has very wide implications if we take that into our faith and apply it. There wouldn't be the killing that we've got today. There wouldn't be the murdering that we've got today. What a wonderful, like the Garden of Eden it would be. It'd be wonderful. And there are glimpses of that. There's glimpses of that in our families and in our friendships. But even they can become selfish and we cut off the rest of the human race. So it's not just your families, your neighbours, all the people I've explained all the different types of people in your workplace, your boss that you might not like, created in the image of God. But yes, we're fallen creatures, and that sacred image has been spoilt. But that image has not been destroyed, it's been spoilt. And we have to protect ourselves, of course, against the bad and the evil things that people can do. The human race, individuals can sink, or groups can sink into deep, dark, evil things. We're able to do that now because of our fallen nature. So we must protect ourselves. But at the same time, if we change our approach and look at everyone that they are created in the image of God, I'm sure that there wouldn't be as much strife in our families, in our streets, and in our workplaces, and in the world as there is today. So that's a quick reflection on Genesis chapter 1. We'll do another one shortly on Genesis chapter 2. I do hope you found it interesting, and if you've got any comments, I would appreciate them. If you liked this video, please click the like, and I'd appreciate if you did like it to follow. That's up to you, because it would help the algorithms to get my videos out there more. The main thing is that you have listened, have got some value from it. So this is the Crazy Englishman signing off. Remember, if you've got faith, you will have hope. And if that faith and hope is worked through love, you can change the world around you for the better. God bless you and your families. Have a good day.